aside from her, I'm also here to surprise you.
Eventually, is it okay if I change the colors? On this wall? I don't know, a different color. I like this one very much. What do you think? Alonso, what are you doing here?
Ruben, I'm in love with you.
Dime si este sentimiento que hoy siento dentro de mí.
March 2023. Good afternoon. This is KBC and this is Lunchtime News. Thank you so much indeed for making time. We have the latest, and especially after the yesterday's demonstration by Azimio One Kenya Coalition. My colleague on the sign language interpretation. Okay, I'll get the name as we continue with this live newscast. Remember, we are live from the broadcasting house here in Nairobi, and we are also live on our social media platform, so you can catch us there as well. Now, straight to the news. Stakeholders in the education sector in Nakuru have urged schools and examiners to strictly adhere to measures instituted by the government to examination malpractices during national examinations. The education stakeholders drawn from Nakuru have expressed concerns over what they termed as laxity in the supervision of national examinations, which they say could compromise the integrity of the exercise.
The chairman of the Kenya Secondary School Head Teachers Association, Charles Manyara, in Nakuru County, has urged the Parliamentary Subcommittee on Education to make an inquiry into the allegations of massive cheating in the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Examination. He urged relevant authorities to investigate reports of private schools buying examinations and ensure the culprits are punished.
Teachers from private schools, how are they going to hold them accountable? I think, and I'm afraid to be corrected, marking should be reserved for teachers registered and employed by the Teachers Association.
Manyara advised the Kenya National Examination Council and the Teacher Service Commission to ensure that no head teacher is afforded the freedom to select exam supervisors and invigilators for their schools.
This work used to be solely the responsibility of the Ministry of Education and the Teacher Service Commission. We, and I'm saying I included, should not be involved in picking the supervisors nor the invigilators in schools.
If the situation is not checked, the situation risks compromising the integrity of the national examinations. For Lunchtime News, I'm Shakaina Maoga.
Now to yesterday's demos, which caused distraction in a number of counties. Kenya Kwanza Alliance now wants the Inspector General of Police to arrest and charge for injuries and destruction of property caused yesterday by the opposition protesters. Led by UDA chairperson Governor Cecily Mbarire, the Kenya Kwanza legislators say nobody was above the law and that Azimio leaders must be held to account for losses incurred by their demonstrations yesterday. Addressing media at Parliament today, the leader said UDA party will also write to the office of the registrar of political parties seeking ODM to be surcharged for destruction of UDA offices in Kisumu.
It is also time to raise the bar and make Azimio and ODM fully accountable for the injury, loss, and damage occasioned by the rioters thuggery they mobilized on the pretext of constitutionally protected demonstration. We urge a reckoning of the damages and the speedy accountability in conjunction with the registrar of political parties.
The only challenge that we want to give to the police is that those looters that are publicly known, those that have been captured on cameras, breaking up meetings, stoning people's vehicles, going into business premises, we want to see them arrested and arrested right now. The leaders that have been accompanying them into these demonstrations, they also need to be arrested and brought to book.
How will destroying property and destroying the economy help to bring down the cost of living? And we must tell you, Mr. Kenyatta, Mr. Odinga, the cost of living is where it is because you too took it there. And we want to encourage the Inspector General of Police, fear nobody. Don't just arrest the young boys and young girls who are being paid to demonstrate. If the buck stops at the door of Mr. Odinga, go for Mr. Odinga.
Na vile vile ningependa kuambia wale wanachama wa UDA wa Kisumu, msiwe na shaka. Kuchoma jengo ama kuchoma magari yetu sio mwisho wa chama. Chama ni watu. Na ningependa kuchukua fursa hii kutangaza kwamba next week on Tuesday tunaenda kupaka rangi tena kule Kisumu kutengeneza ofisi yetu. Sasa watu wa Dala mutarajie UDA iko Kisumu on Tuesday.
I just want to remind my brothers in Nyanza and Larger Western that the next elections is 2027. So the idea that there will be a way in which Raila will be president between now and 2027 was how you.
From that, drama ensued at Malindi New Bus Park in Malindi Town, Kilifi County, after a private developer was stopped by the Kilifi County government from erecting a perimeter fence on land being used by traders. Traders had complained that the developer had evicted them from the land where they had been conducting their businesses, despite the fact that the land belongs to the county government.
A section of traders at the Malindi Bus Park complained that a private developer had grabbed a portion of the park belonging to Malindi County and had evicted them.
Sio kuvamia kama hivi. Tutafanya nini? Ukiiba afungwa. Ukitafuta jasho kama ile kazi ya garage wala haina malipo ni shida. Sasa hii kazi hapa haifanyiki. Hatuna kitu cha kufanya. Twaomba sisi maskini, sisi wanyonge tutetewe jamani.
They urged the relevant authorities to intervene to spare them from harassment by the developer.
Tuko na watoto, tunasomesha, tuna madeni. Tutafanya nini? Hapa ndipo tunapata riziki yetu kila siku.
Their pleas found favor in the eyes of the county government, where the engineer in charge of roads and public works, Nicodemus Kirungu, questioned how the private developer got a permit to develop the land and ordered the developer to stop the works.
Hatujui ya kwamba kuna mwenye amepeana ruhusa ujenzi huo uendelee. Kwa hivyo kufika sasa, kulingana na ofisi yetu ya Road Transport and Public Works na kwa niaba ya manispaa ya Malindi, tunasema ya kwamba hiyo kazi imesimamishwa kwa ghafla.
Moving on, a motorist has died in a head-on collision with a public service vehicle PSV along Mogonga, Kenyenya Road in Bomachoge, Borabu. A pillion passenger aboard the motorcycle sustained serious injuries and is recuperating at the Kenyenya Sub-County Hospital.
These were the scenes along Mogonga Kenyenya Road. A crowd of people gathered after a fatal accident that claimed a motorcyclist's life. An eyewitness, Jacqueline Gesare, said the PSV being driven from Kenyenya ran into the motorcycle Duke Mamburi was riding. The motorcyclist died on the spot, while his passenger was seriously injured and was ferried for urgent medication at Kenyenya Sub-County Health Facility.
Pikipiki ilikuwa inatoka Mogonga inaenda Kenyenya. Sasa hiyo gari ilikimbilia hiyo pikipiki mpaka kwa kona ikaikanyaga. Huyu mwende pikipiki alikuwa anaendesha akakufia hapo. Sasa huyu mwenye gari akatoroka akamwacha hapo. Alikufa kitu kama saa 6 hivi. Alikaa mpaka saa hizi kitu kama saa 8 hivi ndio polisi wanakuja wanamchukua.
Mimi ngaangalia hapa nyuma nikaona higa. Ile nilifuka wa barabara hivi iligonga wapi? Ilitoka kwa mahali ilitoka iliingia kwa hii pikipiki. Sasa iligonga hawa pikipiki. Hao waliruka juu.
Police arrived later and moved the body of the motorcyclist to the mortuary. The identity of the motorcyclist was not immediately established. For Lunchtime News, I'm Abdulaziz Abeid.
The government has maintained that the vetting of persons seeking identification cards and passports will continue to ensure that genuine persons get the identification documents. Immigration Principal Secretary Professor Julius Bitok, however, says consultations are ongoing to ensure that the process is conducted in a humane manner and will not lock out any genuine applicants. The PS spoke during a breakfast meeting with leaders from 6 counties of northern Kenya, namely Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, Marsabit, Tana River and Isiolo, had expressed concerns over the lengthy process in identification of their residents.
The problem of identification is not only for lack of opportunities in terms of to get employment for us. We really feel discriminated as a society about this issue. Not only can we not access certain opportunities, but we can't even not walk, let alone driving within the streets of Garissa town.
Some of the suggestions that were given, like getting a team to identify people at sub-locational level or at village level, I think this is very noble. This is very noble. So that by the time the documents leave at the grassroots level, then the rest is, as my commissioner here said, is to process.
We are trying to engage to get a proper roadmap that the day it's announced, all the systems, all the machinery will be on the ground to ensure that that policy position, that policy shift will have been engaged. You know, our constitution says that for every issue which is very sensitive like this, public participation is very important. So for us, I think Honorable Rasso, you have captured some of the very critical issues.
At least 100 dependents of the Kenya Defence Forces servicemen are set to benefit from a technical training program in construction industry, courtesy of a joint partnership between KDF and Family Bank through the Family Group Foundation. The project, dubbed Tufuzu Youth Entrepreneurship Development Project, will see the youth aged between 18 and 25 gain skills on plumbing, pipework and electrical installation in the next 3 months. Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kibochi termed the 10 million shilling project as timely, even as he called on the trainees to exercise professionalism and dedication in their training.
The commissioning of the first cohort of the Tufuzu Youth Entrepreneurship Development Project has been lauded as a timely intervention in addressing a technical skills deficit in the construction industry. KDF Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kibochi says the force will seek to prioritize the graduates from this joint partnership projects in their employment for skills in the service.
We've established an Ulinzi construction company under the Kenya Ordnance Defence Industries in Eldoret. And principally, this is a company that is intended to absorb skilled labor, people like this that are being trained. And we see an opportunity there.
Representatives of the Family Bank Foundation Group added that apart from the technical skills, the 100 sponsored trainees will also get financial literacy training. For when they complete their training and are work ready, they will be able to manage their finances well. The Family Group Foundation has set aside 10 million shillings for the project.
What we are doing here is not just preparing you for employment, but we also in our course will be very deliberate because there might be not that employment opportunity. So how do you take these skills that you've gained and be able to set up something for yourself?
The construction pillar, which is dubbed Tufuzu Youth Entrepreneurship Development Project, will impact many lives and create, of course, many jobs for many of our young people.
The youth will have an opportunity to gain ability to continue with further training or join the labor market as the prospects of these career paths are very promising.
The partnership seeks to enhance employability and entrepreneurship opportunities for the youth.
Kitanisaidia kwanza ku gain skill. Ya pili ni kupata chakula. Ya tatu ni kupata kazi.
You can start a company because so many people right now, hakuna place unaweza enda ukose watu wanachenga, utakosa companies, big companies.
The beneficiaries promised a toolkit to kickstart the entrepreneurial journey. The pilot training phase will happen at the Malindi Sports Complex.
Now, church and cultural leaders in Kiambu County are calling for a ceasefire between the government and the opposition following yesterday's mass demonstrations in Nairobi and select towns in the country. While calling on the government to exercise restraint, the leaders asked the Azimio coalition to use its numerical strength in parliament to push for changes.
Tukisema waongee na mheshimiwa rais, Bwana Raila ataitisha serikali kama kawaida. Sema yaingizwe kwa serikali. Na ndio nauliza, sasa kazi ya uchaguzi itakuwa gani? Si basi tuwe tukigawanya serikali.
Huyu Raila Odinga achane na hii mambo ya maandamano kabisa. Akubuke kuna wananchi ambao hawana kazi, hawana chakula. Hata hii pesa inatumika, kama ni pesa inatumika, inaweza kuwekewa wale mama mayatima na wale watu wengine ambao wako na shida mingi kwa nchi yetu.
Hakuna mtu ajui mahali katika nchi ya Kenya tuko jadi ya hiyo, hakuna mvua, kuna challenges mingi, uchumi ni mbaya. Sasa tena ile kidogo iko tunaanza kurukaruka huku na kule, kupoteza muda, kuharibu uchumi.
Away from that, while he headed the Ministry of Finance, he made it compulsory for manufacturers of tobacco products to print a health warning on cigarette packs. This week on the cabinet, we take a look at Arthur Kinyanjui Magugu, who served in President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's cabinet.
Arthur Kinyanjui Magugu joined politics at the age of 35. In 1969, he took everyone by surprise when he ousted former Githunguri Member of Parliament and vocal freedom fighter Waira Wakamau. In 1974, he was appointed Assistant Minister for Health in the administration of President Jomo Kenyatta. Later on, he served as an Assistant Minister in the Ministry of Finance. In 1979, Magugu beat former diplomat and Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Josephat Karanja, for the Githunguri parliamentary seat. In 1979, President Moi appointed him to head the Ministry of Health. He made it compulsory for manufacturers of tobacco products to print a health warning on cigarette packs. He is also credited with enforcing the landmark ban on smoking in public spaces. In the 1983 snap general election, Magugu was elected Githunguri Member of Parliament and was appointed Minister for Finance. Later, he served as Minister for Transport. Magugu remained in KANU even after the country returned to a multi-party system. After his appointment to head the Finance Ministry, he appeared to have slowed his role as he rarely attended parliamentary sessions, and to a point members of parliament raised queries about his prolonged absence. In 1983, he made history when he postponed the reading of the budget by a week. He didn't step into the parliamentary chambers until he shifted his political base to Mathare constituency in Nairobi during a by-election in 1986, following the self-exile of area Member of Parliament Andrew Kimani Ngumba. Magugu's tenure as Member of Parliament for Githunguri ran from 1979 to 1986. It is in 1992 when he was eased out of active politics during the multi-party elections. He would, however, be re-elected on a KANU ticket in 2002 as Member of Parliament for Githunguri. However, Magugu's health was deteriorating, and after the swearing-in ceremony, he was unable to attend any other session of Parliament. As Member of Parliament for Githunguri and Mathare between 1979 and 1992, Magugu spearheaded several development projects, including the building and rehabilitation of roads and schools. His 2002 to 2007 term fell short of his previous development record, mainly because he was ailing. Magugu died in September 2012. Jackie Wambiru, The Cabinet.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leaders have accused the police for the violence witnessed in the demonstrations organized by the coalition in different parts of the country on Monday. Senators Stewart Madzayo and Edwin Sifuna and Minority Leader in the National Assembly, Opiyo Wandayi, claimed the demonstrations held yesterday were peaceful until the police intervened. They demanded the release of all arrested youths and threatened to identify police officers who allegedly interfered with peace. They, however, claimed that they will not relent until the cost of living goes down and the IEBC opens its servers.
You involve all stakeholders in the reconstitution of the IEBC. Correct. And you reduce the cost of living. Do those three things and you will find Nairobi returning to normalcy and the rest of the country. There are no two ways about it. Correct. No two ways about it. No amount of propaganda, no amount of press conferences, no amount of lamentations is going to cure this problem. Just deal with those three issues. The chest stamping must come to an end, as it will soon come to an end, for sure. We want also to caution the police against engaging in arbitrary arrests of innocent Kenyans who are going about exercising their democratic right under the Constitution. And on that note, we demand that all those youth who were illegally arrested yesterday and are languishing in various police stations be released immediately and unconditionally. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. This address to you has been necessitated by the statement that has just been read here by our colleagues from the Kenya Kwanza side. We feel it is imperative for us to deal with the propaganda and the lies and the mischaracterization of yesterday's events by our friends from Kenya Kwanza. I will address only two things. Number one, was the maandamano of yesterday peaceful? We, as the conveners of that event yesterday, had planned to have a very peaceful maandamano. We encouraged our supporters to show up unarmed and to proceed peaceably to KICC. We indeed, as members of parliament, proceeded from these very premises to KICC peaceably and unarmed, but yet were still confronted with tear gas and rubber bullets. So we want to make it very clear that yesterday's maandamano was peaceful in its planning and execution until police interfered. We have seen images, and you people captured them, of police officers firing tear gas, using water cannons on people who are just marching peacefully. What we have decided to do as a coalition is to identify individual police officers who must then bear responsibility for their acts and omissions yesterday. The first one is the OCS for KICC, who was the one ordering his subordinates to tear gas justification. The second one is the police officer who has now become infamous on social media, who was captured aiming live rounds at us on Wabera Street. We have identified him as an officer attached to the DCI in Kilimani. We will also be presenting complaints about those two officers to the IPOA. Lastly, on the question of whether our maandamano was protected by the law under the Constitution, we know that the Kenya Kwanza people want to mischaracterize us as people who operate outside the realm of the law. We know that under Article 37, all of us indeed have the right to assemble, picket, peaceably march, do whatever it is you want to do. We are challenging them that if they are having difficulty with Article 37, and they always chest stamp and say they have the majority of numbers in the National Assembly and in the Senate, let them bring an amendment to do away with Article 37 so that we can know that we are fully back in the KANU days. So as far as we are concerned, we are within the law, and if anyone thinks that anybody operated outside the law, they know what to do. Arrest people, charge them, and let's see what charges you bring against them. I thank you. Yes, I want to invite the deputy leader in the Senate. Then we'll have Junet, and then yes.
Thank you very much. I'll address myself to 3 issues. One is on the issue of media. You people, we want to take this opportunity to most sincerely thank you and congratulate you for staying the course. I'm a journalist myself. I know the challenges that media people go through as they cover events like this. You guys have done a fantastic job to this nation. You are protectors of devolution, the real protectors of democracy. You are the real defenders of the rights of the downtrodden. For that reason, I want to say thank you to the media. Let's be partners in ensuring that this country is a better country tomorrow than it is today. Secondly, those who addressed you before we came here spoke about the absence of other political parties and other communities from the demonstrations yesterday. You know, these are people who are just living in denial. They said that Sikuru was not represented in the demonstrations. For heaven's sake, His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is a child of Sikuru. That's where he comes from. He was here. He was leading the demonstrations. I am the senator of Kitui County. Sikuru is in Kitui. I was there in the demonstrations. You look at the members that came from Ukambani region. There was Honorable Mbui, who is still here with us. He was in the demonstration. There was Honorable Mboni Mwalika from Kitui Rural. There was Honorable Dr. Irene Kasalu, the women rep of Kitui. There was Honorable Joyce Kamene, the women rep of Machakos. There was Honorable Susan Kiamba, the member of parliament from Makueni. There was Honorable Joshua Kimilu, the MP for Kaiti, and many, many members of parliament from the region and supporters. So it is a lie, an open lie, that Wiper did not participate or people from Lower Eastern did not participate. We are central to these demonstrations, and we will stay the course. We are not going to be cowed. The last thing that I want to say, I want, on behalf of these colleagues of mine here and on behalf of our principals, to invite the International Criminal Court to take serious interest in what is happening in this country. You can't have a situation where people are exercising their right under the Constitution, Article 37, to demonstrate and to picket, and then police from nowhere decide to throw tear gas canisters, even bullets at people who are peacefully demonstrating. We want the ICC to take serious attention on what is happening in this country, and people must bear personal responsibility for the things that they do. I thank you.
Very good.
I want to invite Junet, the minority whip.
Asante sana. Pole. Sorry. Kwanza kabisa, what we saw yesterday, from the event of yesterday, we have come to discover and confirm that it is only the police that can make our demonstrations either violent or peaceful. The choice is with the police. It is the police that can decide whether the demonstrations will be violent or will be peaceful. It's not the people of Kenya. That we confirmed yesterday. So we want to, for now, we want to plead with the police. Please, let the demonstrations be peaceful, because they are going to go on. So please, let them be peaceful. Don't make them violent. Don't misuse the tear gas you have. Some of them yesterday ran out of tear gas. Don't misuse the water cannons. Now I'm told all the water cannons are in garage being repaired. Reserve those things for a better day. Don't misuse them. So it is the choice of the police to make either the demonstrations peaceful or violent. Secondly, hii maneno ni fupi sana. Hii maneno ni fupi. Vile leader minority amesema.
Wewe ukitaka hii maandamano ikuishe, maneno ni fupi tu. Tangaza leo unga ni shilingi 70. Sasa hii tangaza ya kwamba IEBC will be recruited in a bipartisan manner. Tangaza ya kwamba ile ingine umesema ni gani? Bei ya mafuta iko chini. Maneno fupi tu. Kesho hakuna demonstration. Kufika kesho hakuna demonstration. Mambo itaishia hapo. Si namna hiyo? Ya mwisho ile kitu nimegundua jana. Jamaa alisema ati mimi ni mtu ya Mau, kuachia mimi huyo mtu. Ataendanga akienda namna hiyo. Jamaa alienda kujificha huko Mombasa kwa hoteli. Anaangalia kwa TV ya Citizen na KTN na NTV. Wanaendelea namna gani? Sijaona mtoto ya Mau jana ndani ya town. Hapana tisha watu. Ndugu yangu bwana. Anasema ati bwana rais niwachie mimi. Mimi ndio kiongozi wa Mau. Anajificha nyuma ya polisi. Mau inafaa kuja mbele. Kuja pambane na watu ya maandamano. So vitisho baridi kama hizo pia zinafanya watu wanaongezeka na nguvu. Inapatia watu nguvu. Vitisho baridi kama hizo wacha kabisa bana Rigathi Gachagua. Hiyo ndio yangu ya mwisho. So what we do, we are issuing notice to the police early enough. The other time Mr. Bungei said he was given notice shortly. Now we are going to give him a notice for 1 week for the next one of Monday. So now it should be peaceful. Maandamano should be peaceful. It is enshrined in our constitution. Nimesikia wenzangu wa bunge hapo wakisema ati Raila is above the law. How can he be above the law and the constitution?
Very well, that was an earlier presser by the Azimio Brigade, of course, responding to yesterday's events, yesterday's demonstrations. And they're saying that they will continue each and every Monday and they want them to be peaceful. Incidentally, they blame the police for the chaos that we witnessed yesterday. On that note, we are taking a quick break at about hour. But when we come back, I will take you through couple of stories before we look at what's in the business world and also what's in the sports world.
Article 140 of our Constitution states that the Supreme Court shall hear and determine the petition, and its decision is final. Although we may not agree with some of its findings, and despite all the anomalies we have pointed out, our belief in constitutionalism remains supreme. In this regard, I wish the President-elect, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, and his team well.
They haven't returned the bracelet yet? I really don't understand. Why are you doing this to yourself?
It's your fault. Your fault. All your fault. And I was hesitating and wanted to give up on this. You told me to be brave. If it weren't for you, I would have given up by now and I wouldn't feel as terrible as I do now.
Did you have a fight with your boyfriend? Is someone being mean to you?
Thank you for including me and forgiving me. And thank you for helping to increase sales by implementing my ideas. We're all one team. But of course, we don't need to get everyone on board.
Stop calling him Harvey at work already. You're at work, not at your home. You're at the office, okay? At your workplace, shouldn't you show respect towards your boss? Be more careful, or your wages will be deducted. Now, repeat after me. Mr. Bai.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
To get Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 as your skiza tune, dial star 811 star 967 hash.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6.
To get Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5, dial star 811 star 967 hash. Star 811 star 967 hash.
Yakadambea werarkan.
Message. Nimesikia tu fununu kwamba hii Seldigan by usiku haitakuwepo.
Sikiza. Na nikamdosi nikasirika kwa vita vitumikaza mguu kidogo, sawa?
Ubuchi kamera za border crossing point zote sahi.
Ati?
Kamera za border crossing point zote sahi.
Tumechezwa.
Roll out! Move! Huyu jamaa unaona kiwa credible kweli?
Tuta find out soon.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it KBC. Elsewhere, Kirinyaga Central Deputy County Commissioner Daniel Ndege has given a stern warning to drug traffickers in the Kirinyaga Central Sub-County. He said the distribution and consumption of bhang has been on the rise, with dozens of homesteads affected. Speaking during the issuance of checks through the Kirinyaga Central NGCDF worth about 47 million shillings, he noted existence of drug traffickers in Kerugoya town is a threat to younger generation, even as he called on parents to take up their responsibility in the upbringing of their children. He at the same time called on the residents to volunteer information that will lead to the arrest of the culprits.
Kitu inaitwa ukunywaji wa pombe haramu, pombe mbaya, na hiyo ndio inapoteza watu wetu. Pangi imekuwa kama ni maji. Sasa nataka kutoa onyo kwa wazazi na vijana. Na mheshimiwa wako hapa, ako mstari wa mbele. Sasa hakuna mahali ya kujificha. Tutakuja tukukamate kama wewe ni unakunywa bangi ama unasafirisha bangi, utaosea jela. Hata wale wanafanya makabu. Na wale wanakunywa pia tutaandamana nao, hasa wazee. Wazee tunaelewana?
Let's make sense of business. Students looking to upskill in the technology sector can now access funding to finance their education. This follows a partnership between Aspira Kenya and Moringa School that will enable students access the Soma Loan Education Facility to enable them acquire critical market-driven skills in the tech industry.
With the burst of technology use and remote working that came with the COVID-19 pandemic, millions of jobs have opened up for the young people. However, a lack of skills has kept many from accessing these opportunities. To bridge this gap, Financial services company Aspira Kenya has partnered with Moringa School to ensure that many young people can access the training without financial challenges. The summer loan will enable beneficiaries access resources they need to start an entrepreneurial journey in tech, including laptops, high-tech machinery, desks and chairs.
The feedback we got from the parents that we finance, they're incredibly grateful that we have a solution for them, and also very happy with the turnaround time. So we've got a very quick turnaround time once you actually apply to Aspira and have submitted your KYC documents, bank statements, etc. So it's a very quick turnaround time that we get back to the parents and are able to then grant them the credit and pay the schools for the education fee.
The program looks to produce skilled workers who understand how to use technology to solve problems and to build a workforce with the required competencies.
We're really geared up to provide quality training on a mass scale basis, because even today as we speak, about 80% of our students are training online, but on a very structured model with live learning. We have a big team of tutors and technical mentors to deliver that training.
Aspira is looking to scale the program by partnering with more schools, universities and professional training institutions in Kenya.
So for us, it's very much focused on finding the right partners that we believe we can partner well with, and they believe we can support them. So in the Kenyan context, certainly if there's any other private sector education schools, tertiary institutions that are keen to partner with us, we are very interested to do that.
Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
Now, non-governmental organizations, NGOs involved in charitable donations are calling upon the government to remove taxes imposed on charitable donations aimed at helping vulnerable communities.
The organizations now claim donations worth millions of shillings are stuck abroad after the government started taxing charitable donations donated from the UK and Germany. Majority of Kenyans who depend on donations, especially wheelchairs, hospital beds and sanitary pads, are suffering due to the situation.
We want the NGO board to join hands with us, and we can to go to the government so that the government can at least give some waivers. We have a lot of stuff stuck in Germany, in UK. Only last month we brought a whole container. We ended up paying duty. When it reached here, they said the government has suspended any remission on tax.
Legally, all firms making donations to charity organizations should be registered under the Companies Act, the Societies Act, or the Non-Governmental Organizations Coordinations Act for them to qualify for tax exemptions. According to the NGO's Coordination Board Executive Director Mutuma Nkatana, Kenya has made significant strides in the regulations of non-governmental organizations.
The issues of taxation on specific goods, those are the conversations that we can always assist so that we can sit down. The government is listening. We can reach out to Treasury on behalf of the organizations so that we can be able to have a conversation that can intervene on specific issues.
The NGOs have been uploaded for complementing government services. Terry Njenga, Lunchtime News.
Across borders, Egypt has announced its withdrawal from the United Nations Grains Trade Convention. The Minister of Supply and Internal Trade, Ali Moselhi, has said this is due to the agreement's inability to create a balance in the grains market and provide added value to Egypt. Here are the details of this and other news making headlines from across the continent.
The Minister of Supply and Internal Trade in Egypt said that throughout the global crisis in 2008, global wheat prices rose from $150 per ton to $520 per ton, and the organization failed to play an effective role to secure its members' need by adjusting the trade balance between producers and consumers. Egypt has been a member of the Grain Trade Convention Agreement since its inception in 1995. Egypt officials submitted a withdrawal request requests to the Secretary General. The decision was taken after an evaluation by the Ministries of Supply and Trade, which concluded that Egypt's membership does not represent an added value. Elsewhere, Air Tanzania and Air Senegal are considering joint action against the engine manufacturers of Airbus A220-300 aircraft, which have remained grounded for the past several months owing to technical problems. Both national carriers believe that the company is dragging its feet in resolving the long-standing issue of defective engines, leading to mounting losses for the airline as their A220-300 fleets. Apart from engine defective, the shortfalls also include lack of alternative engines and the plane's body developing rust much sooner than intimated in its maintenance planning document, thus elevating repair and maintenance costs. Finally, a report from African International Trade and Commerce has identified Nigerian-grown ginger and shea butter as potential geographical indication products, which could immensely contribute towards realizing the federal government's diversification objectives. Both products have significant market potential in various international markets such as Europe, the United States and Asia, hence urging the federal government and relevant stakeholders to pay particular attention, considering the enormous economic opportunities in the value chains. Registering Nigerians' ginger and shea butter under the geographical indication systems will safeguard these unique Nigerians' traditional products against imitation and misuse, as well as increase their value in the international markets.
Back home, Nairobi County collected less than half of its daily revenue collections yesterday following the anti-government demonstrations led by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga. According to the county governor, Johnson Sakaja, if the protests are to go on as planned, the county recovery plan will be disrupted. The governor spoke during the launch of the Nairobi 100 Days Rapid Results Initiative at the Charter Hall. He called on his county executive members to ensure the short-term goals envisioned in a 10-point presentation are adhered to within the set time.
Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja termed yesterday's demonstrations as a major impediment to the county revenue collection, with the city collecting less than half of its daily collections. The county boss says if the weekly protest by the opposition continues, they will have negative effect on the economy of the county.
As a city, 30.3 million. Daily we're supposed to be hitting 77 to 80. We collected 30.3. And the only reason we collected 30.3 is because of the technology. People can pay from home. And those who took advantage of the protest, because the constitution allows for it, but those who took advantage and were captured on camera, uprooting public infrastructure, destroying public infrastructure, and even private, must be charged. Those caught doing that, because we cannot say that it's acceptable. All of these things we're doing then are destroyed in a day.
The governor was presiding over the launch of the second Rapid Results Initiative, where he called on his county executive committee members to ensure the success of the initiative. The initiative is touching on 10 key areas, among them greening of the city, health, wellness and nutrition, business and hustle opportunities, built environment and urban planning, finance and economic planning and innovation and digital economy.
Be firm, don't let any interference spoil the work that they're doing.
We want to make sure that we get the right outcomes that drive growth, that drive focus, that drive utilization of skills and knowledge that we have to be able to improve in each of the spaces that we have.
RRI is about teamwork, and this teamwork is not necessarily on the hierarchy we use in our normal day-to-day working.
The initiative that seeks to better the lives of Nairobians will be handled by 70 teams, with a promise from the county boss to reward the top 10 performing teams. The governor has insisted that for the success of the 100 days of the Rapid Results Initiative, every individual and stakeholder must play their individual role to ensure the success of the common goal of service delivery to the people of this county. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News in the county of Nairobi.
In sports, we start with basketball, where Austin Reeves scored a career-high 35 points as the Los Angeles Lakers rekindled their playoff push with a 111-105 win over the Orlando Magic. In another match, Nikola Jokic scored his 28th triple-double of the season in the Denver Nuggets' 108-102 victory over the Brooklyn Nets.
That to happen again tonight.
D'Angelo Russell scored 18 and Anthony Davis added 15 points to end the Lakers' two-game losing streak to register 111-105 win over Orlando Magic.
Three-pointer, gonna hit the back iron. Look at Carter.
The Lakers are 10th in the Western Conference, taking the last spot in the play of the regular season remaining. Teams placed 7th and 10th in the Western and Eastern Conference will contest in the play, in the two teams taking the final spots in the playoffs.
Free throw, then losing a man on defense at the end. Here's Carter Jr. Malik Beasley, boy, he's on a two-point tear. Look at their running.
Elsewhere, Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 22 points and achieved 13 rebounds and 10 assists as Eastern Conference leaders. The Milwaukee Bucks recorded 118-111 win over the playoff chasing Toronto Raptors. In another match, Nikola Jokic scored 28 triple-double in the Denver Nuggets 108-102 victory of the Brooklyn Nets. The Nuggets lead the Western Conference by 4 games.
Back into Porter. Porter puts it up and in, and a foul.
And in soccer, France and PSG striker Kylian Mbappe has succeeded Hugo Lloris as France captain following the retirement of Lloris. Meanwhile, former England manager Roy Hodgson has been reappointed as Crystal Palace boss until the end of the season.
Mbappe accepted the proposal after discussions with coach Didier Deschamps and France's Football Federation. The 24-year-old striker has played 66 times for his country, scoring 36 goals for the team, helping Le Bleu to the World Cup title in 2018 and also guiding France to the World Cup finals last year, where they lost to Argentina.
PSG snatched the lead. This is quite a run from Draxler, and he's fed Mbappe.
Mbappe's first game as captain will be Friday's Europa qualifier against the Netherlands at the Stade de France. Meanwhile, former England manager Roy Hodgson has been appointed as Crystal Palace boss until the end of the season. Patrick Vieira, who replaced Hodgson at Selhurst Park in July 2021, was sacked by Palace on Friday after a 12-match winless run in all competitions. Hodgson managed Watford from January to May 2022, leaving after they were relegated to the Championship. Hodgson had said he did not expect to take another managerial job in the Premier League after his departure from Watford. Ray Lewington also returned to Palace as first-team coach with Paddy McCarthy, who took charge of Sunday's 4-1 defeat at Arsenal, named assistant manager.
And that is where we put a cap on KBC Lunchtime News this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you indeed so much for joining us. My name is Bentro Njue, and Brian Muraro has been our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. Of course, you can check out our news on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, and also all our social media spaces. We have more news coming up at 7 and also at 9. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a blessed afternoon.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
that we should finish what we have started.
And what is it you two started?
I heard that you were here, so I came by to see if I'd be lucky enough to find you.
Well, you should be very happy because you're twice as lucky, sweetheart. Because aside from her, I'm also here to surprise you.
Eventually, is it okay if I change the colors on this wall? I don't know, a different color. I like this one very much. What do you think? Alonso, what are you doing here?
Ruben, I'm in love with you.
Dime si este sentimiento que hoy siento dentro de mí.
When you see us on your screens, you definitely know that it is time for you to get to know what has been happening around the world of entertainment. How you doing?
Wagwan, Nairobi kama kawaida. Welcome to the biggest, the baddest entertainment show in the 254. Miss Luna Kafiti.
Kama kawa bro, tawe luku imekubalu na kafiti.
Monday vibe. Now there is something I saw over the week, Miss V. Assume you have a fight. Who among these celebrities would you invite akusaidie kwa hiyo fight? Kuna Eric Omondi, kuna KRG the Don, alafu kuna Calligraph John.
Come on now. I'm definitely calling on Calligraph. I mean hizo muscles zake, huyu anapigana chungu mimoja. Kwa KRG I know ataongea mingi. Kama ni pali tunashindana kuongea, KRG mara moja kuja apashe watu halo, sijui nini.
Halo, yani zile makelele za over the fence lakini haezi turn out.
Exactly. Eric Omondi same thing man, ataongea lakini someone like Calligraph, we know that he's a man of very few words. So kangumi tu papa.
Let me tell you, see hivyo Miss V. Unaona Calligraph. Okay, ata pull up na hiyo body yake, mimi sikatai. Lakini the only thing anaweza fanya maybe ni distract. Eric Omondi will fight. Eric Omondi will come physically. Akishindwa atakuja na 100 bouncers. Akishindwa tena atatafuta another alternative. This is a die-hard. This guy will support you, Miss V.
Okay.
Trust.
So you'd call Eric Omondi?
Absolutely, any day.
Calligraph will be my guy. Your OG. There's someone else bringing problems. Anywho, guys, let us find out what has been happening throughout the weekend. You know that is the drill right here on the show. My name is Vivian Dago. You can simply just call me Miss V.
Jacques Mula, the party daddy. Ama unaweza niita Papi, aka your girlfriend go my number, man.
And you know what this right here is?
Grapevine, baby.
What you gotta do?
Wagwan, beautiful people. Welcome to the month of Francophone, manze, right here at the Alliance Française. It's all about celebration of diverse cultures and languages. We are expecting to witness the dope performances from La Francophonie. These guys are representing 3 continents alongside our own Kamanu, you know, the Meru finest musician, manze. These guys will be sharing one stage, one sound with the dope audience, manze. So without wasting time, 20 cars.
The month of Francophone was embraced in style right here in the 254 as La Francophonie took up the stage. The trio is made up of 3 gentlemen, Miguel Romeo from Venezuela, Jean Richard from Benin, and Jean Claude from France, all representing 3 continents.
La Francophonie took their inspiration from 3 continents where songs,